Hi, it's Bren, doing an episode of Things by Bren. Again, we have another author, but today this lady is special to me because she has given me all kinds of tips and little tiny gems to help me along my way as an author. Welcome, Beth Worsdell, and she has got a trilogy out that is phenomenal. I've read the first book. You gotta get these books. You gotta like this genre though, but I'm gonna let her tell you all about it. And if you've never read this genre, this is probably the book you should start with. You might just fall in love with it. Beth, tell us about you. Tell us why you started writing. Tell us just the ins and out of why you do what you do.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on. I'm so thrilled. And and when I received your review, I was blown away. I was so touched. So thank you so much because that means so much to me. As you know, reviews are everything.
Yes,
They
they
are they the gold dust for us authors. Um, it's been a bit of a wild roller coaster, I have to tell you, because I never planned on writing books. I was actually songwriting
Oh,
at the
wow.
time. Yeah, I know. um, yeah, I cut a very long story short. I've always written. I started with poetry. Then I had a really nasty car accident in 2007, and I turned to my poetry as a way to cope because I was in so much pain, quite badly damaged. And it was an awful time. So I concentrated on doing things that I could still physically do, which was writing. So I started pouring my heart out in poetry. And then one day, one of my poems that I was writing just turned into a song. I could hear the melody in my head. It was all forming. Next thing you know, I'd written one song, 2, 3, 5, 10, 50. And I spent years just creating songs and just enjoying the experience. Then after we moved to America for my husband's job, um, I had the weirdest dream. It was so vivid. It was like I was there, I experienced it. So the first chapter in my book about waking up and being in this strange white glistening room, hearing these voices and then these aliens walking in that looked like angels, that was my dream.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
it was honestly, it was so vivid. I felt the emotions, the being in awe of them, the shock of it happening and the confusion. I felt all those emotions that my character feels in the book. And this dream stuck with me for 2.5 years. It just
That's a
wouldn't
long
leave me
time. I
alone.
can't remember last night's dreams, let alone 2.5 years later.
Darling, normally I can walk from the kitchen to the laundry room and forget what I've gone in there for.
Yeah,
I'm normally that bad.
me
But
too.
this dream felt like almost like a real experience. It was so vivid. So I it just wouldn't leave me alone. I'd be doing the dishes, it'd pop in my head. I'd be taking the dogs out for a walk, it'd pop in my head. So after 2.5 years, I thought I need to write this down. It may be like a stuck song lyric. I just need to put it down on paper and then I can carry on doing the projects I'm doing. Well, 3 chapters later, I'm thinking, I think I'm writing a book. So I sent what I'd written to my mum and my sisters, who are my biggest ever supporters. They're fantastic. They loved it so much. They were so encouraging. Please, you got to carry on. You need to, carry on writing. And I did. And when I started getting towards the end of Earth Angels, and after all the positive feedback I was getting from really close friends and family, I knew the story was bigger. I knew it wasn't just a one book story. It was a whole roller coaster of an adventure. So I thought, okay, I think this is going to be 3 books. So I then started, as I'm telling people about it and creating that following and support, I started to make it clear it was book 1 of 3. It's going to be a trilogy. It's going to be the Earth Angels trilogy. And it's just gone on from there. I mean, it's been mind blowing, I have to say, because when
Good.
you do something so different and create it and put it out into the world for everyone to judge, you never know how people are going to respond. You
You
don't know
definitely
what their reactions are going to be. I've been blown away. I made the decision because I've got 4 children
Mhm.
and I wanted them to read it, and I wanted to enable parents and teens to read the same books together and continue that relationship. I published my books in adult and young adult editions to try and enable them and give adults a choice. It's been the best thing I've ever done. It really has. It's been
So
awesome.
when you do that, you've really written 2 different books. The storyline's the same, but the language and the vibe and, you know, whatever
Yes,
the ambiance that's going on there is different, because you don't want the young readers to read what the adults might read, and or what parents might not want their children to read. So that is a
exactly.
huge accomplishment.
Exactly. With hindsight, I should have written the young adult editions first and then added all the adults adult content in.
I could see that.
But I didn't come up with the notion of creating the 2 different editions until after I'd already done the adult. And then I'm thinking, I really want parents and teens to be able to read this together. And I want adult readers to be able to read a version and be comfortable and enjoy it. So it was a lot more hard work doing it that way. But the messages and the comments I've received,
Yes.
just pure gratefulness that they can continue reading with their kids, or having
It says a lot about you, because you've really taken 3 books and turned it into 6.
yeah, which is not really cost effective when you're setting it all up.
And you
But
self-publish.
obviously, yes.
Tell us
Yeah,
what it's like a day in your life, especially to be an author, to be a mom, to self-publish, to do all your own marketing. Tell us what that's like.
it's never ending. I have to say, it's one of those things. I am never bored. There is always something to do, something to plan, something to work on. So I'm constantly juggling every day. It is a constant juggle every day, because obviously, as you said, you know, I'm running a home. I've still got two children at home, which was 3 recently, now 2. 2 dogs, laundry and everything else that I do, because obviously, you know, my husband has a very long hour job. So I'm at home. So I'm literally getting up in the morning, getting myself ready, and then I'm loading the washing machine. And then I'm checking the messages and replying to my messages. And then I'm doing the dishwasher. And then I'm setting up my next interview for the Witty Writers Show, or I'm setting up a session with a client, because I do one-on-one training for authors. And then I'm going back to the washing machine and I'm doing the next load. And it's like that throughout the day. I'm literally just juggling normal life and my business, which is basically what it is. You know, I'm running my own business and producing the product. And then obviously I'm doing so much on the side as well with the Witty Writers Show and my Write Better author.
Author, you do encouragement for other authors. You actually promote other authors. You give them tidbits of information and try to help them along the way. Talk to us about that.
It was something that was important to me, because, you know, I think the best way to learn something is by learning from those who have done it, who have got the experience, and they know the easiest way of doing it. They can cut one job down to, this is exactly how to do it. And that saves you so much time and energy. And when you are self-published, or, you know, you're self-employed, you've got your own business, you want to try and maximize as much as you can in the shortest amount of time. Right. So for me, it was a no-brainer to help others. And I was initially with a Facebook group, which I really enjoyed. Unfortunately, I felt at the time I was giving, and, you know, I'm not an ego person, but a thanks and a bit of appreciation and acknowledgement would have gone a very long way.
I agree.
Yeah. So it got to the point where I knew I was doing everything, and somebody else was taking every single bit of credit, and I thought, this is dishonest.
Yourself for yourself. Yes.
It felt dishonest, because I would never do that to anybody. And I had to walk away. I had to think, okay, I'm not gonna create a hoo-ha about it. I am not going to upset the group members by telling them anything. I'm just going to walk away. And that's what I did. I thought, I'm just going to walk away, leave them to it, and I'm going to just do it all by myself.
And that's the right way to do it, not cause a commotion.
Yeah, it's just, it's not worth upsetting myself over.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I'm not a drama queen. I'm not into all of that. So I just thought, I'm just lesson learned, moving on.
You obviously have well, it is an experience. And I was going to say, you obviously have an accent. So where are you from?
I'm actually from England, from a place called Portsmouth, not originally from Portsmouth, but that's where I lived for 17 years with my husband. Originally, I was born in the west coast of the UK. So up until 11, I sounded like a farmer. It was all right, my dear, how you doing, my lover? So now I've got I've got a Hampshire accent, which is more closer to London. But believe it or not, I've actually lived in America now for 10 years.
You still have
because I work from home. Yeah, I work from home, so I'm not constantly interacting with other people here. And so the accent's just stayed.
I love the accent. It's always nice to hear a change. Just something different. So I think it's wonderful. Don't change who you are.
And I could listen to you all day.
Well, my mom is got a very southern draw, and she's actually from North Carolina, but she's been away for 50 years. But she still has that accent. It just doesn't go away. And when she goes home to visit and comes back, it's like she's never left. It just all comes forming back. So I think it's great. Be who you are. You are who you are, and go with that. So tell us something about Earth's Angels. What's that big push? What's that sale line that's going to make people run out and buy this book? Tell us a little bit about it.
It's got everything. I mean, it's a sci-fi roller coaster. Mm-hmm. So we've got badass human survivors.
Yes, you do. I've read it. It's good.
Ancient aliens who are mistaken as angels by our earlier civilizations. And these angels are powerful, so passionate. They are healers of worlds and saviors of planets. And even they find an inner strength working with the humans to save Earth against a secondary threat. Yeah. So, it's a real roller coaster, but I do like to keep it real. Yeah. So the relationships in there are very realistic. You've got the humor, you've got the ups and downs, you've got the emotional turmoil, and my books do make people think, what would I do if I was in that situation?
Right. And that's what you want. You want the reader to be part of the story, like they can picture themselves right there with them. And that's what your book does. And I love fantasy. Yeah. Fantasy is one of my favorite genres. So science fiction, science, supernatural. I thought, well, I'm going to give it a chance. And it fits. It fits into all these genres, really. So if you don't like that genre, give it a chance, because if you like fantasy, you're going to like this. And if you like even suspense, you're going to like it.
What's funny is the amount of messages and comments I get from people who say, I saw you on your Witty Writers show, or I saw you do this and do that, and you sounded so enthusiastic, I had to go and get your book. I don't do sci-fi, but I loved it.
It wasn't something that I would have just picked up and said, okay, I'm going to go look for sci-fi. But because I had met you through this group and through Facebook and just talking with you on Messenger and stuff, I'm going to read this book, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So for you guys out there that want something that's fast, that is shocking, that is going to be something different every time you turn the page, this is the book you need to go watch for and look at, because it can be a movie. It could be a movie, and it wouldn't surprise me in a couple years if you don't see an Earth Angels movie, because it's that good. It really is. Also, she's put a lot of work into this. She's not only put a lot of work into writing, she's put a lot of work into marketing, publishing, sales, anything that touches a book, this woman does. And she doesn't just do it for herself, she helps others. And that is huge in this industry, because people really want to keep the secrets to themselves. They don't want to help. They want to make all the money. So they think money is not really what you make as an author. I'm going to tell you that right now, unless you hit it big, and that's going to be years down the pathway. So get that book, buy those books, because that $12 to $25, whatever the book cost is, it's worth it, because these people have put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of their own money that they're still trying
Yes.
to recoup for your enjoyment. Basically, they've written these books for you to read. So go buy them. Go buy them and
Oh,
get out there and spread the word. So,
thank you, darling. Thank
they get in
you.
touch with you if they want to, talk to you, or what's your website, what's your Facebook
I am
page?
I am literally everywhere. If people Google my name, all my profiles come up everywhere. And I have got a link tree link on everything now, so they can literally go on to Facebook or Instagram or wherever,
And
find
you're
my
on
link
LinkedIn.
tree.
A lot of authors are on
Yeah,
LinkedIn. I saw we're connected there. So yes.
yeah. So I'm everywhere, and luckily because I've got so many good reviews, which is still blows my mind. But my books are available at most places as well, so they can be bought at Walmart. They can be bought at Waterstones, which is the UK's version of Barnes and Noble.
Right.
So they're really getting out there, which is quite surprising. But the paperbacks are $15.99. But they're not little books. They're,
A big book. Yes.
not little books. It's a big story. And the ebooks are all available on Kindle Unlimited
Okay.
at the moment. However, that might be changing in the future, because I'm going to try and get my books on all the other platforms as well for the ebooks. But yeah, I've got bookmarks which can be downloaded and printed out off from my website.
Nice.
And I'm doing a big giveaway at the moment, because I've just released a new book trailer.
Oh, wonderful.
It's beautiful, and it's all on my platforms. And if anybody shares it on Facebook, etc., they will get the chance to win this beautiful silver necklace. Look.
Oh, that is beautiful. Yeah. So go to the Facebook page, share, and get a chance to win.
Yeah. That's all they got to do. Just got to share my book trailer, tagging 5 book loving friends, and that's it. That's their entry. But the more times they do it, the more entries they get.
Good.
Which is fantastic. They get more chances.
She's always giving stuff away. She's does author giveaways
I
on
know.
pages. She another group. She's doing it in her own. She even sent me a copy. So if you really want to get the word out there, if you are an author, then you need to participate. You need to be
Yes.
part of this industry. You need to get involved in groups. You need to befriend some folks and find out what they're doing, share what you're doing, and try to be a blessing to others. That's when you're going to see true reward. And Beth,
It does come back to you.
it does come back. It absolutely does.
It does come back to you. I mean, I've helped a lot of authors, within the groups, one-on-one, through my show and through my support group. And it does come back to you. It really, really does. The more you help other people, you're building such great relationships. And what I tell people is, I'm not in competition with any other author. I'm not.
Your book
Because
is
nobody else. Yeah, nobody else's story is like mine. Nobody else has written Earth Angels. So I'm not in competition with anyone, because my book is as independent and as unique as I am.
right.
So why shouldn't I help others? Because I now know that if I have any problems, I can, put help.
And
This has happened.
I can help you. Yes.
And they will rally, because we've built up such good relationships. And why can't we all be successful? People generally only read a book once.
Right.
They might have a
unless it's a history,
might,
or, something that I might need to refer to later. But as far as
exactly.
novels, yes, we have a little club that we share our books. Once we read them, we pass them around. And
See, I love that.
And it's good, because it's inexpensive. If I like something, I go ahead and buy it, and then when I'm done with it, we share it around, and I get really good books, and they get really good books. And if they don't, they pass it on to the next one if they don't like what's in the bag of books, and it works out well for them.
That's fantastic. It's funny you say that, because I used to literally do that with
Mhm.
a few of my friends when our children were little with their clothes.
Well, we still do that with the clothes, yes.
I love that. Yeah, we used to. Thomas has grown out of it. Here's the bag, and then it come back like for baby number 3.
But you know what? That's okay. Clothes are expensive and kids outgrow them really quickly. And you outgrow your books too, because when I say that, I don't mean that in a negative way. You've already read it. You kind of get tired of the same old thing, so you switch up. You book up. You get a larger book or a totally different genre. And sometimes when I first started reading, I read more self-help and biblical stuff and things along that line. And then I went to college, and then it was just all textbooks. So, and focus,
Yeah.
focus, focus, learn, learn, learn. But then when I got done with that, I needed a break. And I think I didn't read my actual first novel outside of high school until I was well into my 40s, being just to sit down and read a novel to enjoy. And
Yeah.
then became hooked. I became hooked because you're in somebody else's world, you're in somebody else's mind, and
Yeah.
it takes you away from reality. And that's why I love, my favorite quote is, I say, your book can be your personal movie.
Oh, it's true. It is so true. And you can picture those characters looking however you want, the scene however you want. It's as you said, it's just an escape from reality, isn't it? And just losing yourself for a little while.
It absolutely is. And I enjoy sitting in a corner or sitting in a bathtub or sitting outside with my own special niche of what I'm reading at that time.
Yeah.
And it changes
Yeah.
up. It changes up. Like I said, I
Yeah.
book up sometimes. I go up, I go down. Sometimes I like the stuff that's a simple, easy to read, so I don't have to think, I don't have to remember. I'll go through moods like that. And then sometimes I want something that's just in depth and just
get to grips with.
Absolutely. And I love series. I like series. I really do.
Yeah.
My favorite one that I have read that's many, many, many series is the Outlander series. And then now they've got the show out. And I started listening to audiobooks, and I got a little disappointed there because the character's voice didn't match what I thought it was going to be in the book. But this Outlander, really, the characters kind of fit what I thought they might look like and how they might sound. So think about that when your book becomes a movie. What are those characters going to look like? You need to make sure you get those actors that can sound like your book.
I've already got Henry Cavill for James, and yes. I think Charlize Theron for Mel.
Good.
I think that would be a good power. Yeah, good power couple. I like the thought of and when everybody starts reading that, but like Henry Cavill, James.
All right, so if you're listening out there, actors, get in touch with her, because this is going to be a great movie. Great movie. Well, thank you, Beth. I appreciate you spending your time and telling us about your world. And if folks want to get in touch with you, please look her up. Look up her books, go to her website, go to Facebook. She's out there. She's easy to find. She's easy to talk to, and read her book. The first one, the second one, the third one. So do you have any other writing going on before we close?
I do. So much is happening. I've just finished a 5-book series for younger children.
Good for you.
And it's all about a fairy called Jinx who has all these adventures, and she's a Christmas fairy. So I'm super excited about that. And I've also just written a really super short story about my dog called Poppy, because she's a character. And have you ever seen the video about the wonky donkey?
I have not.
Okay, you need to search for it. There's a book called The Wonky Donkey, and it's a rhyming children's story for very young children.
Okay,
and if you look at it, look at it up on YouTube, because there's a YouTube video of this Scottish grandma in her accent, strong Scottish accent, trying to read this rhyming story to her little grandchild. She is dying with laughter. It's the funniest thing ever. And this wonky donkey story in this grandma, it's been stuck in my brain for over 2 years. And then finally, last week, I thought, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to write a similar style, like a rhyming pattern, write one about Poppy. And I did. And it's so funny. because my dog, she's a golden doodle. She eats underwear. She does silent but deadly farts. She snores. She sleeps like a starfish. She'll wake herself up occasionally with a really big loud fart, and then she's just the funniest dog. So I've literally written a whole story about her, and it's all rhyming, and it's hilarious.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
Have you picked an artist for that yet?
I'm probably going to illustrate it myself.
Good for you. Good for you. Yes.
Because then I if I do it all myself, I own all the rights. I can put the images on anything for merchandise. So I might as well just do it myself.
That's true, because when you get other,
And it's for my other jobs.
piece of the cut. Yes. Well, thank you. I think that sounds like a phenomenal book. I've looked into doing some children's books myself, and I would also illustrate them. So what would you like to say to the folks out there watching in party?
Just take care of each other. I mean, we've just gone all through a pandemic. It's been an awful time for so many people. Just do what you enjoy. Do the little things that make you happy and make you feel good. And if that is reading my books, that would be brilliant. And I invite any feedback. I love hearing from my readers. I really do, because it's so, having that connection with the reader, it's just so special. And before I forget, there's a very special author called James Breakwell. He's a famous top-selling author. He's written so many comedy books, all revolving around his 4 children. He's got 4 little girls. So funny. He's a comedy writer. He's hilarious. You need to look him up, James Breakwell. He's so funny.
And there she goes, helping others again, folks.
No, do you know, he doesn't need no help. He's done all organically. He's a huge organic success story. He's now got over 1 million followers on Twitter alone, and he's coming on the Witty Writer Show. I'm going to be interviewing him on the 17th. I'm so excited because it's going to be so funny. We're going to be talking kids' stories and what kids get up to and the horror stories. It's going to be a blast. So if anybody would like to come and join us
of July
on the 17th live, so people can join in, ask comments, and add their questions and stuff. It's going to be hilarious.
Good. That's good.
So I'd love to have you all.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us, Beth. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, darling. I love you millions, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you, darling.
You as well.